Okay, this is Fergus Hodgson. So pleased to be here in Quito, Ecuador with my team. And we're going to be exploring Paccari chocolates today with the co-founder, Santiago Peralta. And Paccari has achieved distinction both in terms of international awards, brand recognition, and with various franchises here in Ecuador. So it's really a success story. So I'm so honored to be able to speak with Santiago today and explore how he has been able to differentiate himself. So Santiago, mate, pleased to meet you. And would you like to clarify? I know there would have been many ups and downs along the way, but are there a few key principles that helped you differentiate yourself from just so many chocolate producers here in Ecuador, a real home of cacao production, and not just home of production, but let's say history, tradition?
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of the first ones to start doing these. I don't know. Normally, we used to have these milk chocolate, which is
Sure.
not chocolate at all. So we were the first one doing, as we say here, premium organic chocolate from tree to bar.
Okay, sure.
So we control the whole process since the farms. So the first thing we did, we start connecting with the farms. I had the luck of living in the countryside my first 18 years.
Yes.
So when I went back to meet these people, they were my friends.
Good, good.
So yeah, we knew the mentality from the rural areas, etc. So what we propose is something that I will explain you here. The idea was, this is the price of production for cacao farmer. What we did is we start paying the double of price of production.
Just with the price fluctuations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fair trade is just paying 5% more. This is fair trade according US laws or European laws. It's just 5%. What we did is pay double the price of production. So we guarantee the last 17 years, these guys are earning properly. Yeah, and stable prices.
Did you own any of those farms?
No.
Okay.
We don't have any.
You just built, you say, closer partnerships with the producers to begin with.
Exactly. So once we measure this, we were 17 times more fair than the fair traders.
Okay.
17. So we have done in 2 years what they have done in 50.
Sure.
Yeah. So after 17 years, with that, you stop migration.
People leaving Ecuador.
Why they're going to migrate if they have a nice business?
Sure.
They are not going to chop down the trees. So we stop the erosion, genetical erosion.
Deforestation.
Yeah, but they cut the trees because they are not productive. So they chop down the cacao trees because price is low.
Sure,
you need
sure.
to put something on the crop, These are the quality of cacao start to go up and up and up and up because there is an economical reason to do that. So la creme de la creme is coming to Paccari.
You did almost like an efficiency wage where you offered more but expected more in return.
That was a feeling. So after that, we were getting la creme de la creme of the best cacao in the world.
Sure.
Therefore, we have right now 440 awards. It's the most awarded chocolate in history. So this is a case of study in Harvard. We have 2 cases studied in Harvard. We have INSEAD, the best business school in France. We have Tecnológico de Monterrey.
And they've studied your story, the Paccari story. Yeah.
The Paccari way. So
Sure.
Paccari way is really changing we have nothing to compare with any of the other business. And the latest news is that we are in Forbes as Ecuador's Paccari is rewriting the ethical business.
Do you describe yourself as conscious capitalists, then?
I just trying to pay fair. I cannot handle with, when you're part in life, you need to be part of the problem or the solution. And so we decide to be part of the solution. The prices were like that. We stable the prices. This is the main reality. Why people migrate? Why do you think they migrate? It's because they have troubles with money. When you give them a steady price, and by the way, we don't need to change that because our price is stable. We are in Ecuador with US dollars as a currency.
Sure.
Why we need to change? No, I give my stability to the farms. It's the first time in history that someone is doing that. So that changed the rural areas. And we work with 3,500 families. So it's 15,000 people in stable reality.
Sure.
Huh? This is a revolution.
And so you really think that what distinguishes your brand from the rest is that you've invested in building, let's say, more ethical framework within which the suppliers can provide better quality and more stable supply. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how have you managed to communicate this abroad, right? So you mentioned actually having better taste awards, but have foreigners understood the mission or the, let's say, different philosophy or approach?
People don't get it, but it is how it is. At the moment, some people is getting us.
Yeah.
I mean, we are 80% of the chocolate sold in this country is Paccari, the real chocolate I'm talking
I
about.
mean, the artisanal chocolate, or, yeah?
Organic, dairy-free, soy-free. We were the first chocolate using sunflower lecithin in the world.
Rather than soy lecithin, yeah.
Because I don't like soy, because
Sure.
soy is GMO. I don't deal with that.
Yeah.
Later on, we were so basically we are the only or the first real kosher chocolate in the world, because soy have a gene of a pig inside.
Sure.
So, and this is because, it's not because I'm from a Hebrew community, it's because I don't consider that fair. I cannot feed you, or I cannot produce chocolate with poison.
Yeah.
It's the oldest organic brand in this continent.
Yeah.
The oldest organic chocolate in the
Yes,
continent.
yeah.
We are more than 22 years already certified organic. It's not because it was a market for that. It's because this is the fair way of playing. I don't have the right of feeding you with poison. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So we are trying to just pay fair.
Obviously, we are in Ecuador, which is a country blessed with many great natural resources. Obviously, we have the Amazon, we have great ocean access, we have a particular climate. We have both, the highlands, we have a great fertile climate here. Now, but we do have challenges, right? So, especially in the last, during the last 20, 25 years that you've been in business, have you had to confront insecurity in particular, or let's say people just copying or replicating your model? And what about, so let's just address those two first things, let's say insecurity challenges and then maybe intellectual property challenges.
Well, yeah, 2 days ago, someone almost killed potential candidates in Colombia.
Sure.
So such things are happening in
not just in Ecuador. Yeah.
No, I think the area is not as easy, but according the mayor of Quito, which is not is maybe an antagonist of the local president.
Yes.
We have the lowest rate of criminality in Quito of the last 5 years. So this country, at least Quito, is more stable or more secure than before.
So you think there's actually maybe a misperception?
Just 10% of the tourist areas in this country has been affected, but we are seeing in TV. Just 10% of the tourist areas. The rest is, again, more secure than before. So I think we're just putting a huge focus in something, and we're putting focus on that because this has been a country that has been never connected with cocaine.
Sure.
We do not produce cocaine, but that's
very small amounts. Yeah.
Very small amounts. I mean, I think, sorry to put in this, but Colombia have 4,000 hectares, and Peru have 100,000 hectares, and Ecuador have 500 hectares.
Sure.
So this has been always a peaceful country, and the perception is wrong.
Sure.
So traditionally, we never had terrorism. Never have terrorism.
So
So that's a little bit is a big misunderstanding.
So you, in your own business, insecurity has not been a major impediment.
I think there are, of course, areas which are hotter
Yeah.
than before, but in the 90% of the cases is as
Okay.
before.
What about, let's say, intellectual copyright or property, where you really, like you said, you were the first to really change the game in terms of how you produced and marketed chocolate as more of a high-end or prestigious product of being artisanal and organic, and let's say high cocoa content, and moving away from just like a chocolate as a sweet. And obviously many other brands have sought to replicate this. How have you stayed ahead of the game and protected, let's say, your first mover advantage?
The quality is obvious with us. I mean,
Sure.
when we have a close connection and we control the whole chain, that's why we call ourselves from tree to bar.
Yes.
You have a lot of people calling bean to bar. If you are in the fields, we have an advantage.
Usually you roast the beans in the process.
Yeah, but it's minimally processed food. That was the beginning of raw food. I don't know, if you compare a carrot, if you cook a carrot, you destroy beta carotene, E vitamin, and on.
Yeah.
If you don't cook it and eat it directly, you're going to have more nutrition in this particular thing. Same happening with the cacao. Cacao have tons of polyphenols and flavonols, and we manage to minimally process this cacao, so these chocolates have the double of polyphenols than regular chocolate. We measure that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and from one side. From the other side, they did the first Olympics of chocolate back in 2012, and 1,500 chocolates arrived to the final in London.
Wow.
300 judges start trying it. They start putting a point in it, and they compute all results, and this chocolate won as the best chocolate.
So the raw had the most, the clearest taste.
Yeah, and a different taste. We are not, thanks God, we haven't been in the structure of making chocolate the same way. We never went to the school to do it.
So
therefore, we have an original way of doing chocolate.
You've tried to think out of the box and you've continued to differentiate or continued to innovate in this regard.
We have 70 different chocolates.
Yes.
70.
70, yeah.
Yeah. So we are innovative, of course. We have the first lemongrass chocolate in the world, the first...
Well, I see also, I'm here in the cafe, and Santiago's store has natural breakfast cereal, ice creams, many, let's say, tangential products.
This dairy-free ice cream is amazing. I mean, I have Italian people coming.
Good.
Yeah, to try this ice cream because it's very special. So all the coffee we serve is coming from the same fields,
sure.
Organic, etc., etc. So that is how we can be respectful with each other and with nature.
So you've basically been on your game, and that you've been continuing to innovate and forge new paths. Because I guess if you rest on your laurels, people will seek to take part of your market share. Now, have you found challenges with accessing foreign markets, whether it's transportation bottlenecks, licensure, anyone, let's say protectionism trying to get in your way? Let's say foreign competitors don't want Ecuadorian chocolate to come in and outcompete them.
I think our competitor is ignorance.
Sure.
The people just don't know. I mean, the people think that, I mean, all the time making this, people in Germany think that chocolate is coming from a cow in the Alps.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, this is people which is well educated, and also there is they don't believe that we can do good chocolate. This is something that someone in Switzerland can do it. And well, since now we have 440 awards, and until now, no one in Switzerland is winning one award.
Sure.
So basically, the result is 440 to 0.
You almost have to educate people too that cacao itself has its own beautiful flavor.
It's the same as wine. I think. Yeah. I think if you compare wine with that, that's maybe a nice connection. It's a parallel with that.
Yeah.
Because if you, I remember 30 years ago.
Yep.
Portuguese wines were so la la. Right now you have amazing Portuguese wines. The same was happening well, France had always good
Sure.
good
New
wines.
Zealand and Australia. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So right now you have this amazing Pinot Noir coming. I remember in Oregon, it was amazing, the renaissance of Pinot there and the nice Carmeners. This is something that has been happening in the last 3 decades. This is still burning in that. But right now, people who try Paccari, they cannot eat something.
It's true. Once you become accustomed to darker or fuller flavored chocolate, going back, it just seems like hollow, you might
Exactly.
say.
If you, after trying a beautiful bottle of wine, it's difficult to go to the Tetra Pak. And that's what the whole world knows. So that's what I'm telling you, the ignorance is our problem. You never have tried something like that.
Yeah.
And if you do it properly, then it's going to be difficult to go back.
Yeah, Santiago, just one last question, and you've been very generous with your time. This term, fair trade, do you want to clarify what that means to you? Because often I find it ill-defined.
I show you that we are 7 teams more fair than fair traders. We should have
Yeah.
a logo bigger than the box. So this fair trade has been, but I'm changing to other thing.
Yes.
I think the added value made at origin is what is changing. Now you know about us because we have a brand. If you keep eating whatever, Mondelez or Nestle,
Yes.
you don't find the guy who's really working. Here you find an address. Here you know where the zone is coming, which is the cacao coming from. Which with the load, you know exactly the traceability. You know, this is best chocolate in the world. You have fair trade, you have vegan, you have all these things which are coming here. We are a B Corp, etc. This show you something. Otherwise, I think the added value in the country of origin is the speech.
Yeah. So
By the way, from the 80s, I was discussing that in the school when I was in the school, because these people were saying the only way of developing a country is making the added value in the country of origin. Otherwise, we just sell the cacao beans. We receive that, which is not enough, and the money is staying in rich nations, and sometimes it's even worse than that. 85% of the world cacao is coming from people that earns less than $25 per family per month. Here, the minimum wage is 600, and you need to have, by law, you need to have
provide social
insurance,
security. Yeah.
social security by law. 15% of our income must be shared by the workers or the employees, so called. So this is a big difference. We have behind the regular chocolate, we have 3 million kids living as slaves just for you to have a cheap chocolate. So when you do added value, the country of origin, you have a voice. Otherwise, you never will know who's the one really sweating for your food.
Yeah, that's the challenge. That, like you say, these labels aren't necessarily the point. The point is actual transparency, traceability, awareness. Because most people, if they see the sign fair trade, they don't know what that means, right? So, but they do want to know where their chocolate comes from. And that,
for me, better than fair trade is made at origin. If you buy that, you really are going to put 17 times more than the fair traders. Otherwise, it's just a greenwash, which has been there 15 years and nothing have happened. The poorest producer countries of cacao are still poor, and the money is in Switzerland.
Yeah. So we've been speaking with Santiago Peralta, co-founder of Paccari Chocolates here in Ecuador, and it's really, like I said, it's a real honor to hear his story and the way he's innovated. We'll link to more of his history in the show notes. So if you have not already, though, please subscribe on YouTube or whatever platform you're on. And I just want to say, Santiago, thanks so much for being generous with your time.
Please, come on. My pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.